Many people have a high need for achievement and for autonomy. It seems straightforward as a leader that as you assign projects or delegate responsibilities, your role is to provide the other person with support to help them meet those needs. In other words, to help them work toward being fully engaged. It sounds easier than it is. There are frequently assignments or aspects of assignments that are non-negotiable, that can eliminate the ability for an employee to act autonomously. Or there may be tedious requirements that lessen his or her sense of achievement. Even more common, however, are situations in which leaders accidentally over-direct when they assign projects and inadvertently hijack autonomy and creativity from the employee, undermining motivation and achievement along the way. We'll take a look now at a model to help you maximize motivation and avoid micromanaging. Here's how it works. Envision a funnel whenever you're delegating responsibility or assigning a project. Part of your job is to clearly outline what is non-negotiable, like budget, expected outcomes, deadlines, and so forth. Think of these as happening outside of the funnel. How the project, task, or assignment gets done is what happens inside the funnel. The rest of your job is to get the person you are delegating to into the funnel to determine how the work will be done while staying out of the funnel yourself. This allows your employee to be creative, work in a way that suits his or her needs, and have a sense of autonomy while working towards a particular outcome within specific constraints. One way to do this is to write down the non-negotiables in advance of your meeting and ask yourself, are they really non-negotiables, or are they really just recommendations based on your experience? If you recognize that you want to provide recommendations, think about ways to hold them back unless you're asked to share them. For example, imagine you work for me and I'm assigning you a project to make a presentation to a group. I tell you, you'll need to use PowerPoint. But wait, is use PowerPoint truly a what, or is it really a how? Can the employee come up with a way to give a presentation that would meet the objectives within the time frame and within budget by using something other than PowerPoint? If the answer is yes, or even if it's maybe, then using PowerPoint is not a real what. Ask yourself why you thought of using PowerPoint slides, and in the answer, you'll probably uncover the real what. For example, you may have been thinking about the need to make the presentation engaging for a diverse audience. Making the presentation engaging, then, is the real what. Using PowerPoint is actually a how. It's really easy to jump into the funnel yourself. Doing so, however, will probably demotivate the people you're delegating to, since they'll likely feel less ownership themselves and more like they're simply following your orders, doing things the way they've always been done. Your role as a leader is to make sure the objectives for the project are met and to have the person taking on the work come up with their own ideas whenever possible. You can do this by asking, what ideas do you have? Or how might you accomplish this? The employee's responses are the hows, and that's what goes into the funnel. You might be worried that an idea will be unrealistic, or as we say, a miss. Start with straightforward language like, my concern about that is, followed by a question to get the employee right back into the funnel. What other ideas do you have on ways to? In some instances, the funnel may be narrow, more like a pipe. These are situations when the hows are non-negotiable themselves. Perhaps a document must be written in a particular format to meet certain regulations or standards. Or perhaps a certain standard operating procedure must be followed to ensure quality control. In these cases, strive to find any aspects of the project over which the employee can have some autonomy and communicate those. If none exist, then acknowledge this to the employee and communicate how the project, task, or assignment will benefit the individual, team, organization, or customer. Visualize the funnel whenever you're assigning a project. A hallmark of a true leader is to ask when you can and tell only when you must.